Why do agents choose to farm? There's so many motives to streamline advertising costs, to be a better realtor, for consistent brand presence, getting listings, getting buyers. The list goes on and on. But when we look at it, we really farm to build a trusted audience through our branding and through our farming activities. We build trust in our brand. Branding is huge in farming, so big that we dedicate an entire session to understanding how branding works and why it matters. Our brand is important. It's our identity. It's our personality to the consumer. And it's not only what they remember, but it's what makes them remember us. We want to take advantage of a psychological concept called reticular activation to make sure that when they think of a brand category like real estate, that the first thing they think of is our brand. Because we want to be the first realtor the people in our farm think of. The National Association of Realtors did a study, and they found that sellers interview one realtor 64% of the time. 64%. If they interview two realtors, it's only 17% of the time. Lining up 3 or 4 is even less. And that tells us that most sellers will list with the first agent they interview. So with that in mind, do you see how important branding is? 64% of sellers list with the first agent they interview. You have to be that agent. You need to be the first realtor that they think of when it comes time to buy or sell real estate. And door knocking without a consistent reinforcement of the brand isn't going to have the level of return that the same activities coupled with farming will. If you have no brand presence in an area and you're door knocking, and those people you have a great conversation with, if they have no interest in buying or selling right now, they're not going to remember you. But if you have a brand presence, even if they're not wanting to buy or sell right now, knocking on the door and putting a face and a voice to a brand that they already remember, that just reinforces the imprint of the brand in their minds so that when they are ready to buy or sell, they'll think of you. And you'll have been in front of them before and after the door knocking activity with marketing materials that aren't ads but are items of value. So your phone number, email, website, they'll have that when they're ready to sell. I mean, when you door knock is a standalone lead generation activity, you're really hoping that they're ready to sell or thinking about it. And if they're not, even if you've made a great impression, had a great conversation, when they are ready, even if they remember your face, they may not remember how to get a hold of you. They may not have kept your business card for 5 years. When you door knock in conjunction with farming, those connections are so much stronger. We can have the best buyer site, we can have great SEO, we can do great social media, we can have the world's best mobile app, we can have all the bells and whistles, but if the reality of the situation is that 64% of the sellers in this given neighborhood will list with the first agent that comes to their mind, if somebody's farming in there, the rest are just tools to get the business of the other 36%. Do you want to limit your business to only 36% of what your potential is? Of course not. We have to make sure that our branding is strong enough in our farm area so that whenever anyone in the farm thinks about real estate, they think of us. Branding is huge. We found that in our farm, because of our brand recognition from continued farming, that there's people in our community that think that all of the for sale signs in our farm are our listings. I don't know, maybe they just assume people call us on other agents' listings, even from other brokerages and companies. People still call us on other agents' listings because we're the first name that they think of when they think of real estate in our farm. And that's not the case 10 miles away. We're not branded to them. But to those in our farm, when those synapses in their brain are firing real estate, the response from their gray matter is Klaus team. So why do we farm? We farm to create a trusted audience, an audience that trusts our brand. But there's other reasons too. More stats for people who love stats. NAR did a study. 83% of sellers said that they would use their agent again. 83%. Same with buyers. They would use their agent again, but 2, 3, 4, 7, 12 years down the road, did they? Not really. Only 28% of sellers actually used an agent from a previous transaction. Now, this stat's amazing though. Only 11% of buyers did. And that's tough. I mean, if you look at conversion rates on internet leads, we know those aren't good. They're better with open house contacts, but referrals and repeat business, I mean, it converts at a much higher rate than internet leads and nosy neighbors. So we want that repeat business. Repeat business is way better than a referral. You might still have to earn the trust of a referral, but repeat clients already believe in you. Unless you're an agent who maybe should be doing something else, conversion rate should be sky high with repeat business and referrals. But according to the NAR study, 55% of sellers and 72% of buyers apparently forgot who their agent was. Now, arguments can be made on the seller stat because maybe they moved out of the farm or moved out of the state, but the buyers are living right in the house you sold them. 72% of them forgot who their agent was. We farm to stay in front of our buyers and sellers outside of drip campaigns and follow-up emails. We still want to farm our past clients, but part of that is just consistently being in front of them in their neighborhood. That gap between 83% and 28%, and that gap between 83% and 11%, that's where the opportunity lies in farming. They forgot who their agent was. So we're there to be the gap. We want to be there and we want to stay branded in those in-between times in between sales, but we also want to be a consistent presence. Despite market conditions, market seasons, our farming activities didn't stop every time the Arizona market has changed. We've transitioned our messaging from short sale to road back home to equity to iBuyer, everything in between. You're creating a millionaire real estate business versus a real estate job. A real estate job ends when you stop selling real estate. If you get in a wreck and you end up at the hospital for 3 months, when you get out, it's like you're starting from scratch, and that's a job. We're talking about building a business that can be run by others someday. You can sell it when you want to retire, or you can just put someone in place to run it for you while you go play golf. Do you see the difference? Building a farm is building a business. It's a long-term business. It's going to be consistent in different markets. Farming also makes a lot of things automated. You're already there in the minds of the consumers in your farm. One of the coolest things about farming is that you have a soft intro to your listing appointments. In many ways, they already know you. Can't tell you how many times we've gone to listing appointments. We've seen 3 or 4 years of our calendar magnets on the fridge. How many times when we walk into their kitchen, we see our newsletter on the counter. Farming allows us to build a relationship in advance so that when we meet them in a listing appointment, we're not just a salesperson, we're really an old friend. Farming makes you a better agent, not just on the financial side where you're doing more business and you get to have food with your meal, but it makes you a better agent. And here's how. Farming builds agent confidence because you get to know your farm really well. Doing more business in the same area on both sides, listing and buy side, it helps you understand the neighborhoods, the builders for those of us farming tract areas, the houses, the history, the community, the schools, the current market season, how much you need to offer or what you need to ask or what you can ask from the seller, what is a reasonable offer from a buyer and what isn't based on the current market conditions. You get to know your farm really well. Productivity skyrockets. Most of your business is geographically close. Farming simplifies CMAs. Your area and pricing knowledge goes through the roof, and your knowledge of the homes in the community and recent sales, what's currently active, and CMAs are easier than when you're doing them in a community you don't understand. And not only are they easier, they're more accurate. You also have a vested interest in the community. You want the real estate market to be healthy, and savvy clients to be will know that. You're going to help them price right, not only for them, but for the community. Farming creates an audience and positions you over time as the local area expert. You become to not just be known for knowing about real estate, but about everything in that geographic area. When new parks are being built, road closures, upcoming local events, the schools, you're the local market expert. People look to us to find out, hey, what are they building over there? Once you have an audience, it makes it easier and more attractive for your farm clients to listen to you, for them to trust you, and for them to try your services. And so when you're doing classes or seminars geared to the consumers or helping promote somebody else's events, your database becomes very effective and very responsive because you've consistently built trust over time. Now, when we ask agents what consumers are looking for, what do they say? We have our own ideas of what people want in us, but NAR didn't ask realtors what consumers wanted. They asked consumers, and it's eye-opening. 98% said they wanted honesty and integrity in an agent. 95% want someone who has knowledge of the process. 93% want responsiveness. 92% want us to understand the real estate market. And that's why we're here now. We want to help you not just know it, to become an expert on the market. 83% want us to have communication skills. 77% want us to have a good knowledge of the area. And that's where farming agents rock. We know the area better than anybody else because the bulk of our business is focused on that area. And you know what? So many agents stress about being on top of tech. And clients do care about tech, but when people are looking for an agent, only 37% have said that they need an agent that's an early adopter on all new technology. So what are people looking for? A great agent who knows the local market and the local area. So we want to give the consumer what they want. Marketing-wise, when you're farming, you can market very aggressively, hitting people with your brand over and over in multiple mediums, and you can still fit it in your marketing budget. We're in Phoenix Metro, and the city we market in is Mesa. It's a suburb, but Mesa is larger than Atlanta, Miami, St. Louis, etc. It's a big city, but it feels like a suburb. There's no reason for us to market to the whole valley, much less all of Mesa. We market mostly to our farm. If we do print, like the newspaper, if we do like an ad in the local newspaper, we only put the ad in one zone that hits our farm, because we don't want to pay for an ad outside of our farm. We want the people who live and work in our farm to see our brand over and over and over again, and we can because we don't have to market to the whole world or the whole city for that matter. We just market to our farm.